and the equipment for the restoration of the western causeway of Angkor Wat were signed by His Excellency Long Visalao, Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Cambodia, and Japanese Ambassador to Cambodia, His Excellency Kumamaru Yuji. The Memorandum on Defense Cooperation and Exchange between the Ministry of Defense of Japan and the Ministry of National Defense of Cambodia were signed by His Excellency Niang Pat, Cambodian Secretary of State for National Defense, and Japanese Minister of Defense, His Excellency Itsunori Onodera. During His Excellency Shinzo Abe's recent visit to Cambodia in the mid-November, the two leaders already witnessed the two signing documents, including the agreement between Cambodian and Japanese government on education cooperation and training under the UN peacekeeping framework, and memorandum of understanding on cooperation between health ministries of both countries. After the meeting, His Excellency Shinzo Abe and Samdech Hun Sen took part in a joint press conference to announce the consequences of the official visit of Samdech Hun Sen to Japan.
The opening of the 8th Cambodia Import, Export and One Province, One Product Exhibition 2013 was held at Corporate Conventional and Exhibition Center under the presence of His Excellency Kiet Chun, Permanent Deputy Prime Minister. The opening of the 8th Cambodia Import, Export and One Province, One Product Exhibition 2013 was held at Corporate Conventional and Exhibition Center under the presence of His Excellency Kiet Chun, Permanent Deputy Prime Minister, High Representative of Samdech Hun Sen, Prime Minister of Cambodia. His Excellency Kum Sithon, Secretary of State of the Ministries of Commerce of Cambodia, said, the 8th Cambodia Import, Export and One Province, One Product Exhibition 2013, organized from 15 to 18 December 2013 by the Ministries of Commerce, with the display and dissemination of the following three topics. 1. The display and publicizing of local services and products in an attempt to win support and recognition from both local and export markets. 2. The display and publicizing of the imported products, which is aimed to create an event to promote both bilateral and multilateral trade in the framework of Cambodia, which has successfully integrated the regional and the world trade. The display and publicizing of One Province, One Product, which is an activity of promoting the movement of the One Province, One Product development more widely. Particularly, this exhibition is intended to promote local products which are produced by each provinces and to give opportunity to each provinces to meet and exchange ideas, opinions, and to search for export market on the spot. The 8th Cambodia Import, Export and One Province, One Product Exhibition 2013 is organized with the purpose to promote trade and investment in Cambodia and to increase the export activity in order to contribute to economic development under the rectangular strategic umbrella Phase 3 of political program of the 5th Mandate Royal Government of Cambodia under the wise leadership of Samdech Hun Sen, Prime Minister of Cambodia. Furthermore, the organizing of this exhibition is also aimed at enhancing the trade promotion campaign in the globalization manner in the framework of the competitive market economy with comprehensive equity. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Kiet Chun said, the 8th Cambodia Import, Export and One Province, One Product Exhibition 2013 will offer not only the golden opportunity to businessmen, traders, producers and investors from all around the region to meet and seek business partners, but also a significant international trade platform in promoting and improving both bilateral and multilateral trade cooperation between Cambodia and other countries for the sake of the common interest in building a firm global economy. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Kiet Chun stressed that Cambodia is a country that has great opportunities in business and investment, namely a country that has enjoyed sustained high economic growth over the last 2 decades and is continuing to enjoy more generalized system of preference from the developed countries such as the United States, European Community, Australia, Japan and China. Cambodian economy has quickly recovered with sustainable growth of about 7% per year.
Cambodian Minister of Commerce said strong cooperation between ASEAN and Japan has resulted in rapid development of social-economic among relevant countries and helped millions of people to get out of poverty.
In conjunction with the ASEAN-Japan 40 Years Commemorative Summit, the ASEAN-Japan's Economic Forum was organized by the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. The forum brought together commerce ministers, business leaders, industrial experts, and intellectuals from Japan and ASEAN region. Addressing in the forum, Cambodia's Minister of Commerce, His Excellency Senior Minister Sun Chanthol, said strong cooperation between ASEAN and Japan has resulted in rapid development of social-economic among relevant countries and helped millions of people to improve livelihood. He said bilateral trade volumes between ASEAN and Japan has increased from $114 billion in 2000 to $223.3 billion in 2011. Japan has become the ASEAN's second biggest trade partner. ASEAN has seen the increasing foreign direct investments of Japan from $16.4 billion in 2011 to $20.8 billion in 2012. His Excellency Senior Minister Sun Chanthol also raised about benefits of Cambodian investment law and encouraged more investors to come into Cambodia. As a least developed country, Cambodia benefits from the most favorable regimes available under generalized scheme of preference from the United States, the European Union, China, South Korea, Japan, and other countries.
In 2014, Ministry of Information planned to recruit 80 students through examination to serve as civil servants in the ministry, as many officers will be retired. The newly recruited officers are expected to help facilitate work in information sectors.
Cambodia's Minister of Information, His Excellency Khieu Kanyarat, said that the ministry will conduct an examination in 2014 to recruit new 80 officials serving in information sector, while some current officials are getting old and will be retired soon. He said the ministry is going to offer 3 different cadres for the 80 newly recruited officers. The Information Minister assured that the recruitment examination will be conducted with transparency and no corruption is committed. According to the Minister, the upcoming examination will focus mainly on some foreign languages, including English, French, Chinese, and Vietnamese. Candidates will be required to take 3 hours to write essays by using one of these languages. His Excellency Khieu Kanyarat also reminded university students to be ready for joining the exam, which will be conducted in early 2014.
Cambridge International School organized scholarship award ceremony to 100 children in Cambodia under the presence of His Excellency Hong Chun-naron, Minister of Education. Cambridge International School organized scholarship award ceremony to 100 children in Cambodia and signing on memorandum of understanding under the presence of His Excellency Hong Chun-naron, Minister of Education. According to the report, KOTC set up KISS in Cambodia, offers international education primarily to scholar and Singapore children whose parents are in Cambodia. The established and managed by KOTC of Singapore and the school awards scholarship to children is aimed at strengthening and improving Cambodian children's capacity, particularly children with difficulty in their education. The school visits to provide opportunity to the children for equal education and development experience and encourage them to be good leaders to help develop Cambodian society. His Excellency Hong Chun-naron said that the relationship between Cambodia and Singapore is a long-standing one, and as shown through this event, it's one that is not only built between the government and also between the people of 2 countries as well. Globalization brings opportunities and challenges to education for nations around the world. If we take a closer study at some of the countries which recognize internationally and topping the list in implementing good public education system around the world, His Excellency further said the government and citizens share a common social belief that education is the pillar to secure future prosperity, better life, and one key factor to ensure sustainable development and a competitive economy. His Excellency Hong Chunaron stressed that Cambodia continues to make innovations and improvements to public school education system. We welcome international institutions and organizations to share their experience and offer their services to people of Cambodia. Particularly, we need to think of education for the future. As part of ASEAN, through such form of collaboration, we can definitely learn and benefit more from each other. According to Xinhua Press, Cambodia has exported 332,000 tons of rice, up 94% in the first 11 months of this year.
Xinhua reported that in the first 11 months of 2013, Cambodia has exported 332,000 tons of rice, up 94% from last year. Cambodia has been selling rice to 63 countries and some regions, including Poland, France, Malaysia, Thailand, Holland, and China, major Cambodia rice importers. The increase of rice export encouraged Cambodia farmers and manufacturers to further strengthen production and equality of rice to compete in the international market. In 2012, Cambodia exported around 187,115 tons of rice formally and informally to international markets such as Europe and United States, worth to $132 million of the profit. After winning 2 straight years as the world's most delicious rice in Hong Kong, jasmine rice is increasingly become popular and attracting many Hong Kong companies as well as international market. Hong Kong merchant plans to trade Cambodian jasmine rice instead of Thailand fragrant rice in the local market and international market. The potentiality of Cambodia rice export reflected deeper political policy of Cambodian government to reach a target of exporting 1 million tons of rice by 2015.
Drug Combating Department of Preseno Provincial Police Commissariat, led by Mr. San Bunthon, cooperated with Malup Tropiang organization, disseminate the impact of drug use and traffic law.
Drug Combating Department of Preseno Provincial Police Commissariat, led by Mr. San Bunthon, cooperated with Malup Tropiang organization, disseminate the impacts of drug use and traffic law, and also provided office supplies and clothes to poor students in Hun San Prey-Nup High School. After Mr. Sik Sabon, head of education office in Prey-Nup district, reported on education sector in Prey-Nup district, Mr. San Bunthon, Chief Drug Combating Department of Preseno Provincial Police Commissariat, confirms that drug issue is the most complicated issues in the world, as well as Cambodia have been paying high attention to seek for measures to prevent this issue in society through celebrating National Day for Combating Drug every year, and other workshops to disseminate to residents to be aware of the impacts of drug use and avoid of using drugs. Besides this, local authorities also disseminated on traffic law and impacts of drugs to all youth and students of Hun San Prey-Nup High School to encourage students to be aware and respect to traffic law. Mr. San Bunthon advised all students to take all their effort to study in order to become good student, good friend, good citizen, and backbone of the nation in the future. He also called for students to avoid abusing drugs because drugs ruin people's future and cause residents drop out of school and commit bad activities in society. Mr. San Bunthon also provided 10 kinds of police supplies to Hun San Prey-Nup High School, clothes, and some money to poor students, local authorities, and teachers. Based on development in all sectors in Cambodia, it also promotes tourism in its region and the world. Based on development in all sectors in Cambodia, it also promotes tourism in its region and the world. According to President of Cambodia Association of travel agents said the number of tourists in Cambodia increased from year to year. In the month of all tourists, Lao tourists remarkably increased as Vietnamese tourists stand in the number 2 and Chinese tourists stand in number 3. Moreover, American, French, and English tourists are also among of tourists come to Cambodia. Cambodia has temples as wonderful Cambodian cultural heritage sites emerged from Cambodian ancestors to attract all national and international tourists. Resort areas in Cambodia are real marvelous masterpieces and famous to the region and the world. Particularly, Angkor Wat Temple is not only Cambodian heritage but one of the 7 heritages in the world. Besides, the local medias are also considered as key sector to contribute to developing and promoting tourism sectors in Cambodia.
Thank you for your great attention to our news program tonight. We wish you have a nice day. Goodbye.